Hey there, welcome back to the virtual VRC. I'm Teresa, one of the health coaches and nutritionists here at the VEBA Resource Center. Now that we're going back to school and many of us are working from home and our kids are distance learning, it's even more important that we understand our nutrition, especially because we're going to be preparing a lot of meals at home. So today what I want to do is go through how to read a nutrition label. This might seem really simple, but there's actually a lot of information on there and it's important to understand what's on there. So I'm going to run through everything with you. That way you feel more confident when you're shopping. So the first thing when you look at a label on pretty much anything that has one, the first thing you really want to look at is the serving size, because that's what all of the numbers below it are reflecting. So we want to make sure we're looking at the serving size so we understand all of the other numbers. So for example, this is just a box of pasta. A serving size here is 2 ounces, and it says that right at the top, and that's always dry. That's not after we cook it, that's before we cook it. And then right underneath that, you're going to see the calories, which is usually labeled pretty large in large text. So that's 180 calories for a 2-ounce serving. Underneath that, pretty much every nutrition label is going to have fat, carbohydrates, and protein. And within those categories, they're going to break those down. So within fat, it says that we have 1.5 grams of total fat and 0 grams of saturated fat, 0 grams of trans fat. So that means 1.5 grams of unsaturated fat is where that's coming from. Just remember, when you're reading labels, in general, we want to minimize saturated fat and stay away from trans fat. So if it has a lot of trans fat, probably don't want to get it. Underneath that, we have cholesterol, which this has 0. Then we have sodium, which is also really important to pay attention to with packaged foods, just because most packaged foods add sodium, which is salt, to help preserve it. So we really want to pay attention to making sure that we're not buying a lot of foods or eating a lot of foods that are high in sodium. After sodium, we've got our carbohydrates. So remember, carbohydrates are composed of starch, fibers, and sugars. So here you can see this has 6 grams of fiber, 2 grams of sugar, and then underneath that includes 0 grams of added sugar, which is another thing you want to pay attention to, is how much sugar is added to the product that you're purchasing. So again, this has 40 carbs, 6 of those are fiber, which is actually pretty good. We want to shoot for higher fiber, so that's a pretty good amount, and 2 grams of sugar. Underneath that, the last one is protein, and that's never really going to be broken down. It's just going to be one number. This has 7 grams of protein, which is actually pretty good, especially for pasta. The reason for that is because this is 100% whole wheat. So if you are going to buy pasta, whole wheat is definitely a better option. And then after we look at the label, I want you to look down at the bottom at the ingredients. So the ingredients are listed in descending order by weight. So the first ingredient listed is the one that there is essentially the most of. This one only has 1 ingredient, so it's 100% of that. But any other item that has a mix of ingredients, you'll be able to see what it has the most of, and then as the list goes on, there's less and less of that. So just another example. This is chickpea pasta, which is a really great alternative to regular pasta just because it has a lot more protein and also a lot more fiber. So just for reference, we read over the 2-ounce serving here. The 2-ounce serving here contains 14 grams of protein as opposed to 7 on the regular whole wheat, has 32 grams of carbs, and 8 of those are fiber. So the ratio of total carbs to fiber is much lower than it is here, where we have 40 to 6. So this is much better in terms of fiber. And then the fat is 3.5. So it's a little bit higher on fat, which is okay, but still a better ratio of fiber to carbohydrates and higher protein. So this might be a better option if you are looking to buy pasta. I hope that information was helpful for you, and just remember, whenever you are shopping, it is really important to look at the nutrition label, especially when you're trying to eat more healthy and especially when you're cooking for your family. Thanks for watching today's video, and I'll see you soon.